Welcome back to the Rockhounding Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something about gold panning
Yeah.
that captures the imagination.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a pursuit.
Yeah.
It's been around for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And the allure, I think,
Right.
is just as strong today as it was during those historic gold rushes.
I agree.
We're going to dive into the practicalities of gold panning in this episode.
Okay.
Where to go,
Mm-hmm.
what to bring,
Yes.
and how to do it.
Great.
What fascinates me is
Yeah.
that it's not just about the potential riches.
Right.
It's the adventure,
It is.
the connection to history,
Mm-hmm.
the thrill of finding something hidden
Yeah.
with your own two hands.
Absolutely. It really is. What fascinates me is that
Right.
it's not just about like striking it rich, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the connection to history. It's the adventure
Yeah.
of it all. It's that feeling of,
Yeah.
I found this.
Yes.
You know?
And it's real. It's not just like, I bought this.
Exactly.
This was here,
Yeah.
and I found it.
And I dug it out
Right.
with my own hands.
It really is.
Huh.
And, you know, even if you never plan on actually panning for gold yourself,
Yeah.
understanding the process
Mm-hmm.
gives you a whole new appreciation for geology,
Mm-hmm.
for history,
For sure.
even for human nature.
Totally.
I mean, why are we so drawn to the search for treasure?
I mean, it's a primal urge, isn't it?
It is.
To find something valuable, something rare.
Yeah.
I think that that's kind of been ingrained in us, you know,
Yes.
since, I don't know, the beginning of time.
It's in our DNA.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
First things first,
Yeah.
location.
Uh-huh.
Our sources really emphasize that understanding where gold tends to accumulate is key.
Oh,
It's not about wandering aimlessly along any stream.
nope.
You've got to have a strategy.
Exactly. I mean, gold is heavy, right?
Right.
It's dense.
It is.
And so you have to think about the way water moves
Yeah.
over time. And it carries these particles.
Yeah.
And as it's moving, it's going to drop the heavier particles
Uh-huh.
first.
So it's like a puzzle,
It is.
figuring out where those spots might be.
Yeah.
Our sources suggest researching historical gold rush areas
Yeah, good place to start.
or checking out modern prospecting reports.
Mm-hmm.
If gold was found in a particular area before,
Mm-hmm.
chances are
Yeah.
there's still some waiting to be discovered.
Like the hope, right?
Yeah.
That's what keeps us going. But there's more to it than that,
Yeah.
than just history.
Okay.
You have to look at the terrain,
Yeah.
the way the water's flowing,
Uh-huh.
and the geology of the area.
Yeah. So it's really about,
It's bringing it all together,
it is.
you know?
It's kind of
Like,
it's a real treasure hunt.
yeah, it is a treasure hunt.
One of the sources actually paints a picture. Imagine you're standing at a bend in a river.
Yeah.
The water slows down there,
Right.
allows heavier particles to settle.
Makes sense.
That's where the gold might be hiding.
Exactly.
So inside bends, crevices, areas behind large rocks, those are all good spots.
Those are all good spots. Yep. The source actually gets really specific
Doesn't it?
about, like, where to look.
Go.
And it mentions inside bends,
Uh-huh.
crevices,
Okay.
areas behind large rocks
Yeah.
as prime spots
And that's all because of,
because the water
yeah,
is going to deposit
the heavier particles?
those heavier particles. Exactly.
It's amazing how the geology and the history intertwine.
It is.
But of course, we can't forget about the legal side of things.
Right.
We've got to be responsible rockhounds.
We do. We have to be respectful of the land,
Absolutely.
of other people's property.
Yes.
You know, you can't just go digging anywhere you want.
Right.
So,
Our sources are very clear about respecting private property.
and mining claims.
Yes.
So, researching public lands that are open
Right.
for recreational gold panning is a must.
And checking those state and local regulations.
Yes, definitely.
They mentioned California, Alaska, and Colorado as examples,
Mm-hmm.
but every area will have its own rules.
For sure.
And there are lots of ways to find that out. You can even connect with other rockhounds
Yeah,
online to find out more about good locations and regulations.
that's a great idea.
We'll put a link to a great Facebook group
Oh, perfect.
in the episode description
Great.
for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, it's always helpful to learn from others who
Yes,
share your passion.
it is. Okay, so we've got our location scouted out.
All right.
Now it's time to gear up,
Yeah,
brother.
let's do it.
What do we absolutely need to get started?
So the great thing about gold panning
Yeah.
is that it's a surprisingly accessible hobby. Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't need like a ton of fancy equipment
All right.
to get going.
Our sources walk us through the essentials.
Okay.
And Honestly, it's pretty straightforward.
Go.
The star of the show, of course, is the gold pan.
Of course.
Now, it's more than just a pan.
Right.
It's specifically designed with ridges and riffles.
Yes.
Those aren't just decorative.
No.
They're strategically placed to trap those precious gold flakes as you're working.
Exactly. They're there for a reason.
It's like a built-in filter
It is.
designed to help the gold,
Mm-hmm.
separate from everything else.
Mm-hmm.
I never really thought about
Yeah.
how the design of the pan itself
Right.
is so crucial to the whole process.
It's all about those little details
Yeah.
that make the big difference.
And then there's the classifier,
Yeah.
which I think is sometimes overlooked.
Sometimes overlooked. Yeah,
It's basically a sieve
it is.
helping you remove
Yeah.
larger rocks and debris
Right.
so you can focus on the finer material
Mm-hmm.
where the gold is likely hiding.
Yeah.
So it's all about efficiency,
It is.
making sure you're not wasting
Right.
time and energy
Yeah,
on the wrong stuff.
that's right.
Then we have the shovel or trowel,
Yes.
those trusty tools for digging into the sediment
Huh.
and collecting the material you'll be panning.
Exactly.
And you can't forget the snuffer bottle.
Oh, the snuffer bottle. Yeah.
This little tool
Uh-huh.
is all about precision.
Yes.
It lets you suck up those tiny flecks of gold
Mm.
once you've isolated them in your pan.
Exactly.
It's like a miniature vacuum cleaner for gold.
That's a great way to put it.
I love how each tool
Yeah.
plays a specific role,
Yeah.
and they all work together
Right.
to make the process more effective.
Absolutely. It's all about having the right tools
Yeah,
for the job.
and knowing how to use them.
Exactly. And to really appreciate those tiny little flakes of gold,
Yeah.
a magnifying glass is indispensable.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing to see the detail, the way the light reflects off of it.
All right. Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. Then there are the practicalities.
Yes.
Waterproof boots and gloves,
Yes.
essential for wading in streams
Absolutely.
and keeping yourself safe and comfortable.
Safety first.
Always.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the bucket,
Right.
your workhorse for carrying material and storing anything you're not ready to process yet.
Absolutely.
And finally, the gold vial,
Yes.
like a little treasure chest for all the gold you find.
It is. And it's incredible how each of these tools,
Yeah,
while simple in design,
right.
play such a critical role in the gold panning process.
So we've scouted our location,
Okay.
got our gear.
Uh-huh.
Now comes the exciting part, the art of panning itself.
The main event.
Our sources lay out the basic techniques
Yeah.
in a really clear step-by-step process.
Okay.
And it's like a dance,
It is.
a series of movements designed to separate the gold from everything else.
Yeah, you make it sound so graceful.
Well, the descriptions are so vivid.
Yeah.
It's almost like you can feel the weight of the pan in your hands,
Yeah.
the coolness of the water.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with gathering your material,
Okay.
scooping up that promising sediment from those strategic locations we talked about earlier.
Uh-huh.
Then it's on to classification,
Yeah.
using the classifier to refine your material, focusing on the fine gravel and sand where the gold is most likely to be hiding.
Right.
This is where that understanding of geology really comes into play.
It does.
You're not just randomly scooping up dirt.
Nope.
You're selecting the material based on your knowledge of how gold deposits form.
Yeah, you're using your brain
Right.
and your knowledge.
It's like being a detective,
It is.
looking for clues.
Yes.
And then comes the moment of truth. You submerge your pan in the water and give it a good shake.
Okay.
You can almost hear the gold settling to the bottom.
Right. No.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's not just a single shake.
Right.
There's a rhythm to it, a back and forth motion that helps to further separate the materials.
Okay.
And then the swirl and wash.
Yeah.
You tilt the pan slightly and swirl it in a circular motion, letting the lighter material wash away while the heavier gold hopefully remains.
Right.
This is where patience comes in.
Oh, yeah.
You repeat and refine these steps, swirling and washing over and over again until only the most promising material is left.
Mm-hmm.
It's a process of elimination, gradually narrowing it down until you're left with the good stuff.
Yes.
And then the moment we've all been waiting for, extraction.
Okay.
The source makes this sound so exciting. You can almost feel the anticipation building as you use your snuffer bottle or your fingers
Yeah.
to carefully pick up those golden treasures and deposit them in your vial.
That's the best part.
It's the culmination of all that effort,
Mm.
that knowledge,
Uh-huh.
that patience.
Yeah.
And even if you only find a few tiny flakes, it's still a victory.
Absolutely.
It's a tangible connection to the earth,
It is.
to history, to the very forces that created those precious metals.
It really is.
Now, the source doesn't just leave us with the basics.
Okay.
It also offers some valuable insights from experienced prospectors, which I find really helpful.
Oh, good.
It's like having a mentor guiding you along the way, sharing those hard-won lessons that can make all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
The source highlights the importance of patience,
Oh, for sure.
observation,
Yes.
and choosing times when the water levels are low.
That makes sense.
Patience, because you might not strike it rich on your first try.
Nope.
Observation, because understanding the terrain and water flow is key.
Right.
And low water levels, because they expose more of the riverbed,
Yeah.
giving you access to those prime panning spots.
Exactly.
It's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of connecting,
Yeah.
the source also encourages joining a local gold panning club or connecting with other prospectors online.
Oh, cool.
It's a great way to learn from others,
Uh-huh.
share experiences,
Yeah.
and get advice on specific locations.
Right.
We'll also include a link to a fantastic Facebook group
Perfect.
in the episode description.
Okay.
If you're interested in connecting with fellow rock hounds and learning more, be sure to check it out.
Great resource.
That's such a valuable piece of advice. Learning from others who have experience can really accelerate your learning curve and make the entire process more enjoyable.
I agree.
So we've talked about location, equipment techniques, and even some expert tips.
Right.
But what about the gold itself? What can you expect to find when you're out there panning?
Well,
Yeah.
that depends on a lot of factors,
Yeah.
including the location
Uh-huh.
and the geological history of the area.
Okay.
It's not always those big, chunky nuggets
Right.
that you see in the movies.
I was just thinking that.
Were you?
Yeah. Is it more common to find smaller pieces?
Much more common, yes.
Okay.
You're more likely to find flakes or tiny particles called flour gold.
Flour gold?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but don't let the size fool you.
Oh.
Those tiny pieces can still be incredibly valuable,
Right.
especially when you consider
Yeah.
the effort and skill that went into finding them.
Yeah. It's like each piece has its own story to tell.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the size.
Right.
There's also the question of purity.
Uh-huh.
Gold isn't always found in its pure form, is it?
Right. It's often mixed with other metals like silver or copper.
Okay.
The purity is measured in carats,
Uh-huh.
with 24 carat being pure gold.
Yeah.
But the gold you find while panning
Yeah.
is likely to be lower carat,
Okay.
depending on the geological conditions where it was formed.
So even the gold itself has a history,
Yes.
a story,
Yeah.
connected to the Earth's processes.
Uh-huh.
It's fascinating to think about how those tiny flakes we might find in a riverbed are the result of millions of years of geological activity.
It is.
Really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It really does.
It reminds us that we're part of something much larger than ourselves,
Yeah.
connected to the Earth and its history in ways we might not always realize.
Mm.
And that brings us back to that allure of gold panning.
Yeah.
It's not just about the potential for riches.
Right.
It's about the adventure,
It is.
the connection to nature,
Absolutely.
the thrill of discovery,
Mm-hmm.
and the stories that those tiny flakes of gold can tell.
Yeah. It's a reminder that there's still so much to explore
Yes.
and uncover in the world around us.
Yes.
And that sometimes the most valuable treasures
Right.
aren't the ones that glitter the brightest,
Yeah.
but the ones that connect us to something deeper,
Yes.
something more meaningful.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect note to end this part of our deep dive on.
Great. You know, as we've been talking about all the technical aspects
Yeah.
of gold panning,
Yeah.
I keep coming back to
Mm.
the feeling
Yeah.
it evokes.
Right.
It's more than just a hobby.
It's an experience.
It's an experience, yeah.
There's a sense of adventure,
Yes.
of possibility. That's hard to find
Uh-huh.
in our everyday lives.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
stepping back in time.
Yeah.
Connecting with those
Yeah.
early prospectors
Right.
who were driven by that same
Uh.
thirst for discovery.
And it's not just about the gold itself.
Yeah.
It's about the journey,
It
the
is.
challenge,
Yeah.
the immersion in nature.
Absolutely. It's about that feeling of anticipation
Yeah.
as you're sifting through the sediment,
Ah.
that quiet focus,
Wait.
as you're swirling the pan.
Yes.
And then that rush of excitement
Yes.
when you spot a tiny glint of gold.
Oh, it's like
A bet.
such a rush.
Yeah,
It is a tangible reward
it is.
for your effort.
It is.
A reminder that there are still hidden treasures out there
Yes.
waiting to be found.
And those treasures
Yeah.
don't always have to be material.
Right.
Our sources talk about a sense of peace,
Uh,
the connection to nature that many people experience while gold panning.
yeah, it's almost like a form of meditation,
It is.
a way to disconnect
Uh-huh.
from the stresses
Yeah,
of daily life
totally.
and reconnect with something
Yeah.
more primal,
More grounding, yeah.
more grounding.
One of the sources describes it as a moving meditation.
I like that.
Yeah.
Moving meditation.
The repetitive motions,
Uh-huh.
the focus on the task at hand,
Right.
it allows the mind
Yeah.
to quiet
To be present.
and be more present. Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And it's accessible
It is.
to almost anyone.
Mhm.
You don't need expensive
Yeah.
equipment
Yeah.
or special skills to get started.
Our sources really emphasize the simplicity
The accessibility
and accessibility. Yeah.
of gold panning.
Yeah.
It's a hobby that can be enjoyed by people
Mm-hmm.
of all ages and backgrounds.
For sure.
And it's a great way to get exercise,
Yes.
fresh air,
Uh-huh.
and maybe even a little bit of sunshine.
That's right. Speaking of sunshine,
Okay.
our sources
Yeah.
offer some practical tips to increase your chances of success.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
Mm.
What are some of the things
Okay.
that experienced prospectors know?
So they emphasize the importance of research,
Okay.
understanding the geology of the area
Uh-huh.
that you're planning on panning in,
Right.
and paying attention to the subtle clues that nature provides.
It's like being a detective,
It is.
using your knowledge
Yes.
and observation skills
Mm-hmm.
to solve the mystery of where the gold is hiding.
And it's not just about luck.
Right.
It's about putting in the effort,
Uh-huh.
learning the techniques,
Right.
and developing a feel for the process.
One of the sources mentions
Yeah.
that experienced prospectors often talk about reading the river.
I've heard that.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they learn to recognize the patterns,
Uh-huh.
the changes in the current,
Okay.
the subtle shifts in the sediment that
Yeah.
can indicate
Yeah.
where gold might be deposited.
It's fascinating how
Well, I don't
something
know.
that seems so simple
Right.
can actually be quite complex.
It can. There's a real art to it.
There is.
Mhm. To gold panning.
And like any art,
Yeah.
it takes practice,
Uh-huh.
patience,
Patience.
and a willingness to learn from your mistakes.
Absolutely.
But the rewards are worth it.
They are.
That feeling of accomplishment,
Oh, yeah.
when you find a piece of gold, even a tiny flake, is something truly special.
It is. It's a validation of,
Yeah.
of your efforts.
Yeah.
A reminder that sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones we earn through hard work
Yeah.
and perseverance.
And those treasures aren't always
Right.
measured in gold.
They're not.
They can be found in the experiences we have,
Yes.
the lessons we learn,
Yeah.
and the connections we make along the way.
Absolutely.
So for anyone listening
Yeah.
who's feeling inspired to try gold panning,
Mm-hmm.
I encourage you to embrace that sense of adventure.
Yes.
Do your research,
Mm.
find a good spot,
Mm-hmm.
and get out there and explore.
And remember, even if you don't strike it rich,
Yeah.
you'll gain valuable experiences,
Wow.
connect with nature,
Yeah.
and create lasting memories.
You might even discover a hidden talent
You might.
for finding gold.
Exactly. And if you're looking for a community
Yeah.
of like-minded individuals, don't forget to check out that Facebook group
Right?
linked in our episode description.
Yes, we'll put that link there.
It's a great place to connect with other rock hounds,
Mhm.
share your experiences,
Yeah.
ask questions,
Uh-huh.
and learn from those who have already mastered the art
Yeah.
of gold panning.
So we've covered a lot of ground in
Oh.
this deep dive
We have.
into gold panning.
Yeah.
From the practical techniques
Uh-huh.
to the deeper philosophical implications.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've explored the history,
Yes.
the science,
Uh-huh.
and the allure
Yeah.
of this timeless pursuit.
Absolutely.
And we hope you've come away
Yeah.
with a new appreciation for the beauty,
The challenge.
the challenge, yep,
and the reward.
and the real,
fun of gold panning.
absolutely.
Thank you for joining us on this adventure,
It's been a pleasure.
and we hope you'll tune in again for our next deep dive into the fascinating world
Yes.
of rock hounding.
Until then,
Yeah.
keep exploring,
Keep discovering.
keep discovering, and keep that spirit of adventure alive.
And thank you for listening to the Rockhounding Podcast.